After about 5 months, I have once again returned to the cow that has lost its milk long ago. The Pokémon Challenge cow. God tier metaphor. I know. Today, I have returned for 2 reasons. 1, because I kinda felt like it, and 2, because it's been about a year since I uploaded my most viewed video and well, kinda started to blow up. To celebrate this garbage ass video that outperformed everything else by far, I now present you the sequel. Can you beat Pokémon Heart Gold by avoiding every possible battle? 16 gyms, so double the fun, right? Yeah, we'll see about that. So as for the rules, I decided to switch up things just a bit compared to the Emerald one. First of all, this time I will not allow any healing in battle. This includes health items and moves. Secondly, we've established using broken ass moves like Attract and Double Team basically means an insta win, so we're ditching those too. Third, I will not allow any other Pokemon to be acquired. This means I have no legitimate reason to catch Ho-Oh in the forced battle, and trading and gifting isn't an option anymore as well. Trading and gifting still means I won't get into a battle, but it would just make things boring as hell. Last but not least, and this might come as a surprise, I will not be allowing any HM slaves. So if you're a real Pokemon connoisseur, you already know that I'm picking Totodile, considering it learns every HM you need to get this done. Other than that, everything is allowed. Except for, well, battling more than the bare minimum. Actually, I'll add one more rule, because I know some smartass is gonna comment about this. Obviously, I'm not gonna battle the random encounters or Ho-Oh encounter that I can simply run from. Don't even act like you weren't about to comment that. Anyway, on the Emerald one I got a bunch of comments saying,
So this is just a regular speedrun.
no it's not, you stupid ass motherfucker. In this speedrun, for example, they catch a bunch of HM slaves, they use potions, and use Raikou to sweep everything. That's not what this is. That being said, let's pick up this damn Totodile. I used the universal Pokemon randomizer to do absolutely nothing, but I figured I'd mention it anyway because everyone does it for some reason, even though nobody watches the video gives them. After which I picked up Totodile and went on my way. After suffering through 12 million cutscenes and avoiding every trainer on my way, it was time for my very first forced battle against my rival. However, you don't have to actually win this battle in order to progress in this game. That being said, least amount of battles means least amount of battles. And considering this is a forced battle that you always have to partake in, even though you can't lose it, it really fell into a grey area. After thinking about it for a while, I decided to just take the free experience and move on with my life. Upon reaching level 6, Totodile also learned Water Gun as a nice little bonus, and thus I definitely felt like I made the right decision. One forced battle later, we already arrived in Violet City, where I would take on Falkner to obtain my first badge. However, before being able to do so, you have to clear Sprout Tower first. This area has so many damn unavoidable battles that I was able to level up all the way to level 12. Then the game decided to make it even easier for me, because the trainers in Falkner's gym are unavoidable as well. As a result, I challenged Falkner with a level 13 Totodile, which is on par with his Pidgeotto. Not to mention, Totodile learned Bite upon reaching level 13, which will be really useful later on. Even though I ended the fight with 2 HP, literally spamming Water Gun was all I needed to do to get this done in a single attempt. Then we moved on to Azalea Town, where I'd have to fight Buxy for the second gym badge. Before being able to do so, however, the game once again gives you a huge experience boost by making you beat a bunch of Team Rocket members in the Slowpoke well. After beating their leader, Proton, I managed to get myself a level 16 Totodile, and I felt like obtaining the second badge was gonna be really easy. Before fighting Buxy, there's another mandatory fight inside the gym itself, which granted me another level on top of that. Now, despite all of this, Buxy absolutely destroyed me on every single attempt. I think Boxy just uses the Metapod and Kakuna as a bait to make you think like, oh man, I got this in the bag, to then crush your dreams with the Scyther. No matter how many times I tried, this U-turn / quick attack combo from Scyther just demolished my Totodile before I was even able to get it down to half HP. I thought this was already going to be the end of the run, and I was really disappointed. Until I realized I could just grab a bunch of X items and most importantly, TM Rock Tomb in the Union Cave. Rock Tomb made me go from like failing 60 attempts in a row to losing a total of 7 HP in the entire fight. I wish I came to this realization a lot earlier, but hey,
a win is a win.
Not only did I obtain my second gym badge, Totodile also evolved into Croconaw, giving me a bunch more strength to play with. Upon exiting, we beat our rival pretty easily and did the dumbass Farfetch'd quest, which resulted in obtaining Cut. Moving on without Cut is impossible at this point, and considering I'm not using HM slaves in this run, this was the first HM move my starter boy was going to learn. I ditched Leer for Cut and moved on to our next location, Goldenrod City. I did the quiz, moved Whitney's booty back to the gym and defeated some unavoidable trainers in there. This got me up to level 21, where Croconaw would learn the run-defining move, Ice Fang. Then it was time to grab myself this third badge. Clefairy's big head was no match for my gigantic mouth, and I hexed my way through the cow by freezing and flinching it in a single turn. Considering the moveset Whitney runs on this, I'd definitely say I deserve that luck. Then, instead of going the intended way, I used my galaxy brain and backtracked all the way to Violet City, to water the Sudowoodo from that side. By doing this, I avoided 3 unavoidable trainers, so I'm glad I thought of that strat in time. After beating these 2 girls that are blocking your way, I arrived at Acrotique City. After this, I pretended to care about the legendary dogs, gave my rival an ass whooping, and made my way to the 4th gym. This gym was by far the most annoying to get through, because you can actually avoid some battles by leaving and re-entering the gym. By the time I challenged Morty, Croconaw was at level 27, outperforming every single one of his Pokémon. I outspat Ghastly and both of his Haunters, which weren't even able to survive a single bite. Then, even though his Gengar destroyed me a few times with its powerful Shadow Ball, after a couple of resets it used Hypnosis, missed, and was KO'd in a single hit as well. Hooray! We've collected 25% of the badges in this entire run. After progressing the story by beating the Rocket Grunt that's harassing the Kimono Girl for some reason, and obtaining Surf as a reward, I headed to Olivine City. In order to get Jasmine back to her gym, you need to go to the top of the lighthouse, and once again, this meant there were some mandatory battles to take care of. After talking to Jasmine, teaching Surf to Croconaw, getting the secret potion in Cyanwood, and giving it to Ampharos, I actually could choose if I wanted to take on Jasmine in Olivine or Chuck in Cyanwood. Considering the type disadvantage against Jasmine, I figured Chuck would be the best choice. Inside of his gym, there's a single unavoidable battle, which luckily enough pushed me to level 30, at which Croconaw not just learns Crunch, but also evolves into Feraligatr. I think something went wrong in the recording here, considering the clip literally starts at Poliwrath being frozen, but after resetting a couple of times, I took care of its Primeape after only taking 20 points of damage. As the clip might suggest, I then froze his Poliwrath with my first Ice Fang, and I just spammed his ass to death with Crunch to also get the defense drop bonus. He did break the ice in the process, but luckily, it didn't matter. I had obtained badge number 5. Upon exiting the gym, I obtained the only HM I wasn't able to learn, and I immediately moved to Jasmine. According to my recording, this battle took a total of 1 minute and 2 seconds. Surf, 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 and GG. After this, I obtained Strength, did the Red Gyarados battle, and moved on to the part where you have to do a bunch of plot development stuff with Lance. Now, while I don't care about the plot in any way, shape or form, Even if you try your very hardest, there are a lot of unavoidable battles in this hideout thing. At the very end, where you have to get rid of the electrodes in order to restore the generators or some shit, I was already up to level 35. Oh, and Lance gave me Whirlpool as a thank you. He would have been better off giving me nothing instead. Then, there was another unavoidable trainer in the 7th gym on top of that, so by the time I wanted to fight Price, I was kind of over-prepared. Like, what do you even want me to say at this point? Once again, this wasn't a hurdle at all. 2 crunches on Seal, 1 serve on Piloswine, and 2 crunches on Dugong, one of them being a crit. And that's the fight. It's that easy. 7 in the bag, and I went on my way to Blackthorn. Just kidding. I had to move back to this radio tower in Goldenrod City for more story progression I don't give a fuck about. So many rocket battles.
So many rocket battles. So many rocket battles.
Then I was finally able to get to Blackthorn. On the way, I found Waterfall and I had to forcefully teach Feraligatr strength in order to even get there in the first place. The gym contained 2 mandatory battles as well, and with the large amount of rocket battles in Goldenrod, Feraligatr was already up to level 43 at this point. As you might have noticed, the only move that hadn't been transformed into an HM at this point was Ice Fang. Even though Ice Fang bailed me out numerous times before this fight, this was the exact fight I wanted to use Ice Fang for. Claire's Gyarados dwindled me down to 50 HP, but that was perfectly fine, considering her Dragonairs weren't able to resist a single Ice Fang. Actually, it was kind of a problem, since her Kingdra was easily able to handle my attacks. Luckily though, it runs Hydro Pump, and it missed at the perfect timing, giving me the knockout at just 5 HP. And there you have it. 8 badges in the... Wait. This chick isn't giving it to me. So yeah, Claire's being a little bitch and she's making me go to the Dragon's Den, where I'm not just required to beat a trainer, but I also have to forcefully teach Feraligatr Whirlpool to get to this house I'm supposed to go to. This is literally the only Whirlpool in this entire run, and you're making me waste a perfectly fine move for it. Fuck you, Claire. Fuck you. After wasting my goddamn time and moves, I got my badge from the Crybaby and I wanted to move on. Then I realized I could just go to the move deleter in here, and thus I got rid of Cut and more importantly Whirlpool, which I used like for maybe 3 minutes. Thanks game. I knew what was coming up next, and I felt like it was the right move to take Hydro Cannon for at least these next couple of fights, since it hits really damn hard. After obtaining the Master Ball that I would later sell on eBay for about $3, it was time for the most annoying sequence of fights so far. In order to fight Ho-Oh, the Kimono girls want to test if you have the right bond with Pokémon, and thus they throw themselves and their evolutions at you one by one, without any healing in between. It only took a couple of L's for me to realize that it was time to grab an item that I should have grabbed way earlier. The Quick Claw in National Park. After taking a few more L's while hoping for enough luck with the Quick Claw, I finally managed to Hydro Cannon my way through most of them, and I eventually ended the final fight against Vaporeon with a very uncomfortable 18 HP. Then it was time for the
Epic legendary battle,
where Ho-Oh joins the party in a very epic cutscene. Little did he know, I was just gonna press run and kinda move on with my life. The road to the Pokémon League was kinda uneventful, aside from the fact that I had to teach Feraligatr Waterfall in order to progress any further, and I had to battle a few trainers in the process. In case you're wondering, I backtracked all the way from Blackthorn back to our hometown, instead of taking the easy route. I didn't even check if there were any mandatory trainers on the route below, but I figured backtracking was the safest option anyway. Oh, and I also put the rival back in his place once again. Mens just doesn't know when enough is enough, does he? So well, here we are. The first round of the Pokémon League. If you thought the run was a meme so far, then you're in for a treat. First up was Will, and well, this whole fight took me about 5 minutes. Not only was my Feraligatr 7 to 8 levels higher than pretty much everything he had, but he also chose to go with the dumbest movesets, like a 60% accuracy hypnosis on Exeggutor and spamming Curse on Slowbro. With 27 HP left in the tank, I was able to beat his ass pretty quickly. The fight against Koga was even easier. Not only was my Feraligatr still very overleveled compared to his Pokemon, but he literally uses garbage such as Ariados, Fortress and Venomoth. These fragile mons can't even take 2 hits, and in the turn they are able to actually hit me, they do no damage at all. So to summarize the fight, I destroyed their anuses and beat Koga with 89 HP left. I think that says more than enough about the Elite Four experience. In order to make this very long video a little shorter, let me just tell you that the remaining members were terrible as well. And that's all I'll say about it. Then it was time to battle Champion Lance, which is still a very odd champion to me considering he literally has a mono-type team. Because his Gyarados would intimidate me and Surf wouldn't really do the job against partial water and dragon types, I decided to teach Feraligatr Dragon Pulse, which I had picked up somewhere along the way. While Gyarados was able to damage me to 26 HP before I was able to take it down, his other mons got absolutely destroyed by my combination of water and dragon moves. His lightning fast Aerodactyl was able to get a single hit off, but somehow he was too weak to even take me down, and I survived at 2 HP. After a whole 6 minutes, I was able to call myself the Johto champion. This run was so damn easy so far that I was able to do all of this in 7 hours and 53 minutes. Yikes. Well, are you sick of all the battles yet? Yeah. Me too. Luckily, we got a whole nother region to go through. So after the league, you can travel to Kanto to take on 8 more gym leaders and another Elite Four round after that. The order in which you take all of these on is pretty much up to the player, and thus I figured out that it was best to take care of the easy ones first before I take on any type disadvantage. For this very reason, I decided to start with Sabrina. Sabrina only has 3 pokes that are all weak to physical attacks, and thus I was able to waterfall her entire team down in the time span of about a minute, thanks to the Quick Claw activating at convenient times. I was kinda surprised by the levels of Sabrina's Pokemon, considering they were like my level at this point, and thus I figured it was a good idea to take care of the only quest in this region. In order to fight Misty, you need to take back this machine part from this Team Rocket member, because he stole it and now the power plant is malfunctioning. Then, after completing this pointless side quest, you need to go to Nugget Bridge and clear all of these trainers, so you can spy on Misty sticking her tongue in someone's mouth. While I don't feel like doing all of this in order to unlock Misty was necessary, it did give me a bunch of experience, so it was 100% worth it. Not that I really needed the experience for the Misty fight, because all she did was use moves like Ice Beam and Ring Dance, while I easily beat up her entire team using Strength. After a solid 2 minutes, Misty was defeated and I obtained badge number 10. I wanted to move on to the Poison Gym after this, but my dumbass forgot the bike and Goldenrod, so I had to take care of that first. Then, it was time to take on the gym. You can actually avoid every single trainer inside of this gym, so I was able to fight Koga's daughter immediately. This battle... man, this game... it's so easy. Feraligatr's level was so much higher than anything she had to offer, and she uses 2 Ariados and a damn Venomoth. Like, can this be any easier? Even though I got a lucky Surf Grid at the right time, this battle wasn't a challenge at all, and a couple of Surfs and Waterfalls later, I obtained badge number 11. Then, in order to wake up Snorlax to access Diglett Cave, I obtained the EXPN card from the old man in order to play the Poké Flute song, because for some reason the Poké Flute can't do that anymore. After waking up and running from Snorlax, I went through Diglett Cave, only to find out that I needed cut to proceed any further. So sadly, I had to get rid of another good move in Dragon Pulse in order to cut down a very small tree. Then I went on to challenge Brock and well, do you really want me to tell you how this went? It's a rock ground gym and I'm a water type. That's really all that needs to be said. After this, I moved on to Blaine's Batcave, which is a huge upgrade compared to his lame ass quiz gym on Cinnabar. In order to even get to Blaine, you have to battle a bunch of trainers, which gave me a very nice chunk of experience. Then it was time for Blaine, and well, once again, what do you think happened? He got fire types, and I have a water type. According to my recording, this fight took a total of 52 seconds. I think that really says enough. Now, I had 3 gyms left to beat. Erica and Surge, which I had purposely avoided up until this point, and Gary or Blue, however the fuck you wanna call him, but I was only able to challenge him once I had all 17 other badges. I decided to go up against Surge first, since my step water moves would at the very least do neutral damage. Considering this was an electric type gym, surely this meant a challenge for once, right? Surely this would be a difficult badge to obtain.
Nope.
Surge managed to be so damn bad that 5 electric types can deal with a single water type. Everything dies in a single waterfall, both of his electrodes just spam double team, even when I'm paralyzed. His Electabuzz tries his very best, but Shockwave is just fucking ass, and then his Magneton spams double team again, instead of just finishing the job. Even though his Magneton hit a Shockwave on the turn it died, it's so bad that it wasn't even able to take down my 90 HP Pokémon. I just can't believe the programming on these leaders, man. I really can't. Anyway, this meant it was time for the second to last gym fight against Erica. All of her Pokémon just spam Giga Drain at all times, and I had the perfect plan to counter this. I was gonna get Swords Dance from the Goldenrod game corner for 4000 coins, but I'm not gonna lie, I was too lazy to take the boat back to Olivine, do all that stuff in order to get Swords Dance, go all the way to Blackthorn to delete an HM move, and get back to Celadon. So, in order to save time, I just bought a bunch of X attacks, which essentially do the same thing but slower, so hey, I'm even giving Erica a higher chance to win, so it all works out in the end. So yeah, long story short, I used a single Swords Dance that magically took 2 turns, and I was able to use Strength on her Pokémon to pretty much KO all of them in a single hit, and obtain my second to last gym badge. Last but not least was the guy that we for some reason call Blue, even though he's not actually blue. And well, even with my magic 2-turn Swords Dance, I got fucking destroyed. He leads off with an Executor, and no matter how many times I reset, this thing always uses Leaf Storm on the first turn. Feraligatr sucks and can't survive this. Instead of waiting for the 10% miss chance, I figured I'd just go back to Blackthorn in order to delete a move and get Ice Fang back. But then I ran into a mechanic that I completely forgot about. I guess I got super lucky when I went back to Johto to get the bicycle, and I just didn't notice this because I was there on the right days. But now I figured out that you can only travel back to Olivine every Wednesday and Sunday, and you can only travel back on Mondays and Fridays. Who in their right mind thinks of such a stupid ass mechanic? Imagine wanting to travel between like the Netherlands and the United Kingdom, and some fucking moron decided that you can only travel to said country 2 days each week. Like, you're literally traveling between countries. Why would you make a restriction like this? And what's even worse is, this is a damn video game. Why would you make the experience so much worse by doing something like this? I just don't understand. Anyway, After wasting literal days, I traveled to Blackthorn, deleted Strength, taught Feraligatr Rock Smash, grabbed the Heart Skill, and went back to Blackthorn to teach Feraligatr Ice Fang. Then I went back to Vermilion, but you guessed it. It was still Wednesday, so I happily wasted 2 more days to travel back to Vermilion. Then it was time for the Blue Gary rematch. The reason I made Feraligatr remember how to use Ice Fang was because it has a 10% flinch chance. So all I had to do was wait for the 10% to happen, and then his little egger wouldn't KO me with a Leaf Storm. It only took me about 4 tries before I was able to get it. After this, I set up my magical 2-turn Swords Dance against his Rhydon, and even though both his Arcanine and Gyarados were able to lower my attack by 2 stages, my Surf/Waterfall combo was more than enough to take down his entire team. And when I say that, I mean I got an Ice Fang flinch, a Waterfall flinch, and an Ice Fang crit within 4 turns against his Gyarados, which otherwise would have likely destroyed me. But hey, we take those. After obtaining Rock Climb, which I wasn't going to use, I traveled back to... Oh. Right. After wasting literal days, I went to Blackthorn to get rid of Cut and Remember Strength, since I need that HM to be able to reach the Pokémon League at all. So now, it's time for the second round of the Elite Four. For the second time this run, I challenged Will to a friendly battle. At this point I was full Papega mode, and it took me a single magical 2-turn Swords Dance to realize I was recording full screen. Because his first Pokémon, Bronzong, uses terrible moves such as Gravity and Payback, I was able to set up another 2-turn Swords Dance right after. Then I was able to pretty much sweep his entire team by using Waterfall. 3 members left to go. I had a game plan for the Koga Fight that required a little bit of luck. But what actually happened in this fight is beyond ridiculous. The plan was to set up a single Swords Dance against his Skuntank, while that ugly looking thing used Dig. Once this was done, I had to A. not take a lot of damage before getting to his lightning fast Crobat, or B. get my Quick Claw to activate against his Crobat at least once. What actually happened on my first try though was the following. My Quick Claw activated about 60 to 70% of all the turns, I flinched his Swalot so it wasn't able to damage me, my Quick Claw activated on both the turns against his Crobat, and I snapped out of a Swagger's Confusion after a single turn of being confused. I don't even know how much luck I needed in order to get this battle over with, but even I am willing to admit that this was a little bit of an overkill. Any hoosers, moving on to Bruno. Once again, I had a solid plan to set up my magical Scuffed Swords Dance. His lead, Hitmontop, feels the need to spam counter a lot, giving me 3 turns to do anything I desire. Funnily enough, the plan to set up Swords Dance was even more scuffed than usual, and the reason for this is the fact that I was gonna let Bruno set up the Swords Dance for me. I used the Surf on the turn Hitmontop used counter, and then I KO'd it with a Waterfall afterwards. Then Bruno sent out his Hitmonlee, and this is where my plan came to fruition. Hitmonlee used Swagger, giving me a nice +2 attack in the process. After this, I used up all my Shitterlock tokens, because not only did I snap out of the Swagger Confusion after a single turn, I also snapped out of Machamp's Dynamic Punch Confusion after a single turn. Thanks to these Shitterlock tokens, I didn't have to worry about my HP when his Lucario used a very powerful close combat, and his final poke, Hariyama, didn't stand a +2 Waterfall at all. I'm not gonna lie, I can't remember the last time I was this lucky. Maybe I should buy a lottery ticket while I'm at it. Just when I thought I had used all of my Shitterlock tokens, I got even luckier against Karen. Like, I don't even know what to tell you. I promise you, I didn't save scum this, other than resetting the entire battle when I lost. In a single sitting, without save states, I got an Ice Fang flinch against her Honchkrow, I was able to dodge hitting myself in confusion after Spirit Thump used Confuse Ray for 2 turns in a row, After which I snapped out of confusion and I crit her specially defensive Umbreon that was spamming Curse at this point with a Surf. This 100% mattered. I didn't even use a single Swords Dance or anything in this battle, I just got so damn lucky. I can't wait for the comments to say that I like cheated or something. Well, fucking deal with it. I can promise you, I didn't. So, in order to make you even angrier, I decided to use a bullshit strat for this final fight against Lance. In this fight, Lance uses Gyarados and Salamence to bring your attack down to -2. Considering 75% of my moves were physical at this point, and I really needed Ice Fang against his strong dragons, I figured the way to beat Lance was to keep resetting the entire battle until I was able to set up 2 magical 2-turn Swords Dances against his Gyarados. You see, Gyarados is dumb enough to spam Dragon Dance a bunch of times in this battle, and with the right amount of luck, you'll only need to take a single hit before being able to set up. Along with using the rare candies I found throughout this run, this seemed like a very decent plan. Those plans changed after a bunch of resets though. Because I was on full autopilot, I accidentally pressed Ice Fang instead of using a Swords Dance, and I got the 10% freeze. I figured I'd just go with it, and after setting up my 2 Swords Dances, it was time to go. On the first strength I used, Gyarados actually broke the ice, but the dumbass AI figured it was a good idea to use Dragon Dance. The turn after this, my Quick Claw activated, and I bopped his ass out of existence. The remainder of Lance's team just couldn't handle this powered up beast. His Garchomp outsped and was able to use Outrage, but it wasn't enough to kill me. What's even funnier though, is the fact that Game Freak's beloved Charizard used a Dragon Claw and wasn't even able to take 33 HP down. What an absolute loser. With a solid 2 HP left, I was able to beat Lance for a second time this run, and thus, I had beaten the second round of the Elite Four by avoiding every single battle possible. Did I get lucky in the end? Yes. Yes, I did. But even if I didn't, there were still so many items and moves to use in order to actually get this done. The great RNG just sped up the process of making this video, rather than giving me an out in an impossible situation. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. So to answer the question, can you beat Pokemon Heart Gold while avoiding every possible battle? Is yes. And it's way too fucking easy. The further I progressed, the more I was starting to hate this video. I can't even tell you how many times I've considered not uploading this video at all. Even though I limited myself way more than the previous No Battles challenge, this run was such a walk in the park that I feel embarrassed to even upload this. I didn't even make the no X items thing a rule, and if I just went through the lame ass process of getting Swords Dance, I wouldn't have used a single one at all. The fact that I did it now was just to save a bit of time because I was a lazy ass motherfucker as per usual. How is this run so much easier than the Emerald one when I restricted myself so much more? Is it the move pools, the shitload of mandatory battles, or just the fact that the movesets and AI in this game are straight up garbage? I don't know. This is by far the easiest run I've ever done, and I feel like this doesn't live up to my standards at all. But I played through the entire run, and I really don't have anything else to upload, so you're gonna have to deal with this a worthless video. I truly don't get how all these challenge YouTubers feel good after posting such easy runs every couple of days, like, I couldn't be more dissatisfied. Anyway, I hope you somehow still enjoyed this video. I wouldn't understand if you did, but if you did, please leave a like rating. Consider hitting that subscribe button, and I'll be posting way better content very, very soon. So, I'll see you in the next one. Peace!
What's the chance you would fuck with me if I told you everything to fuck with me? I know that shit is rhetorical until I actually start to say things. I got an aptitude for doing bad shit. Good kid, but I'm balanced. Type to write a couple songs a day, but then I type to not record a damn thing. I just live inside my head, I guess. Going outside is too much. Type of person that'll read your text and then not reply for like 2 months.